Welcome to your front row seat of Encore. The Encore series is a fan favorite follow-up to conversations started on the Life Possible podcast. Encore highlights interview details and discussion topics that left us curious and wanting more. Without further ado, please welcome back to the stage your Encore hosts, Wedny White-Stevens of the Real Women of Ideal Protein, Dr. John Barnes, and their featured guest.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Encore in 2024. It is so good to be back. I am Wedny White-Stevens, your host. I am an Ideal Protein client first, a clinic owner at the Institute for Metabolic Transformation second, and a wellness coach. In 2016, I embarked on my wellness journey. I am 7 years deep, and 7's my lucky number. So this is my year. I'm super excited to welcome Dr. John Barnes back as the co-host to Encore, and also our guest today, Bev Holmes from episode 63 of the Life Possible podcast. Bev is definitely an inspiration. At age 62 and losing 92 pounds, she then parlayed her passion for life and the protocol into coaching. And part of some of the things that she shared on her episode of the Life Possible podcast, I found really compelling. I love how much she leans on Dr. Tran's words of wisdom and guidance. I am so happy to welcome both of them to Encore.
Hey, Wendy, how are you?
Ah, awesome. So happy to be here. How are you?
I couldn't be more excited. It's been way too long since we've done one of these.
I know. And so the first step back into the ring is going to be a good ring.
Yes, it is. And we've got an amazing guest. Let's bring her in.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Bev. Welcome back. How are you?
I am ideal. How are you today?
I love that. I am ideal too.
Here we go.
I'm going to guess John's ideal as well. We got the triple threat of ideal going on.
If I were any more ideal, I don't even know what would happen.
Oh my gosh. Tune in Monday and we'll find. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
It just keeps building. So the anticipation is there that we will become more ideal. Bev, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me back. Thank you so much.
Can you remind me and the audience, where are you coaching?
I'm coaching in Ladysmith, BC on Vancouver Island in Canada.
How awesome. Well, thank you. Welcome. I wonder who's been colder recently.
I know, right?
Oh, snow. Like what? Yeah, incredible. But
you're in Vancouver.
Yeah.
You should have snow like all the time in Vancouver. Is there ever any warm?
We don't have snow all the time here. No.
That's our American impression.
Right.
Exactly. I know. Like Eskimos. No, gosh, no. We've had 2 weeks of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also devastated.
Well, I'm glad that we did try a couple of times, and between schedules and other things, we hadn't been able to catch up and hang out. So I'm glad that we've got a chance today. The focus of the episode is going to be around Dr. Tran's book, Because It's Your Life. We are getting ready to launch a group read on February 2nd. And so it's kind of perfect timing to run across your episode with Dr. Barnes and you to be so because it's your life forward. Okay. There were several things about your interview that really touched me personally, touched me as a coach. And so there's a couple of those points of interest we're going to talk about today. The first one is going to be treating yourself when you don't like yourself, Bev. Right? That's rough. And in the interview on the Life Possible podcast, you shared, so what is it like when we discover that we do need to start liking and loving ourselves? And I was curious, when I hear these interviews, I just keep thinking the entire time. I've told Dr. Barnes, I have pages of notes, like I need more information. And I get curious about, at what point did you arrive at the idea that you liked and loved yourself when you initially read the passage?
First of all, sorry. When I read the passage, it was in the old book on page 39.
Yeah.
But when I first read it, it didn't dawn on me that I had to like myself or love myself. And I never even gave that any thought throughout my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I always loved everyone, cared for everyone. People loved me and cared for me back and respected me. So for me, it never dawned on me that I needed to do that.
Yeah.
When I was reading further into the book, it talked about if you didn't care for someone, you wouldn't do nice things for them.
Exactly.
And that's when it hit me that I didn't really like myself.
Yeah. That's rough.
I guess I had known it all along, but it didn't really come to me in that way until I read that book. And I remember thinking to myself, like, you really have to like and love yourself to do this?
Yeah.
Then the light bulb went on. That's the one thing that I have not done for 46 years of yo-yo dieting.
Yeah.
I had not learned that, and I had not realized that that's something I had to do.
You know, go ahead.
When it came into reality for me is when I fell to the floor, as I talked about before, because I had a knee problem and I couldn't get up and my husband couldn't get me up, and I decided to go back to sleep on the floor and hope for the best when I woke up.
Yeah.
That's when I realized I had to start doing something because I cared for everyone else and realized I should be able to be mobile. And that was something that really frightened me, and it frightened me for life. And that's one of the reasons that my why turned into being able to look after myself and my family as I age. And for so many years, I lived with a person who degraded me, called me names, didn't like me, sabotaged me. But guess what? It was me. It was me. I lived with myself doing that.
Yeah.
And that totally helped change how I saw things. I mean, still today I have to do resets and I still have to work at it. But I like myself and I love myself enough to do something good for myself. So again, the person I lived with was me.
Yeah.
All those
like surprise.
For 56 years, I did that to myself. I would never have a relationship with anybody who treated me like that. And yet here I was treating myself like that. And I don't think even a lot of people who knew me realized what it was like, because I've always been like I am today.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I didn't realize it, so how could anybody else have realized it?
They would have never known, right?
Right. Because you put on that happy face. You put on that, again, you're there for everybody. You do everything for everybody. And you're always positive. You're always, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But yet that's not what goes on when you're by yourself. That's not what goes on inside your head.
And not thinking for a minute, I had to like myself or love myself to be able to lose weight, maintain it. It never dawned on me. And I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's when I heard that part of the podcast, first of all, I had to pause it, because to think about the situation of simply falling down in the kitchen, right?
Right.
And then absolutely not being able to get up, absolutely not having the ability for help to get up, and having to stay on the floor all night.
Overnight.
That broke my heart for
Yep.
you. And I thought, we all have different calls to action, right?
Well, that certainly was my call to action.
I
When,
mean,
when
yeah,
you have to go to the hospital, well, first of all, paramedics, small town, everybody
it's so
knows you.
embarrassing.
Right.
I work at the pharmacy in
Yeah.
town,
Yeah.
and the only explanation diagnosis was my weight. And then I thought, okay, this is ridiculous at that age. I mean, you need your mobility
Yeah.
throughout.
Health is your wealth for sure, but quality of life is directly impacted by mobility. And one of the beautiful things about coaching at the Institute for Metabolic Transformation, where we do aspire to create generational health, like initially it was generational health down, because we know the statistics of kids born after 2001, they're highly likely to develop a chronic disease, a preventable chronic disease by the time they reach adulthood. That is tragic. I was connected to that because our youngest was born in 2001.
Wow.
But since then, I've seen all the beauty in generational health up, right?
Mhm.
The older population, because if you don't have mobility, what is the quality of life in those years? Getting up off the floor to play with your grandkids. I hear that all the time. Being able to be an active participant at the park rather than a passive participant on the bench, watching the grandkids. So, it resonated with me, and I felt deeply for you. And the sting of hearing, not that you wanted there to be something more wrong with your health, but just kind of the sting of hearing that it's your weight. Like, you couldn't get up off the floor because of your weight. This is your diagnosis, and when Dr. Tran shares what he shares around liking and loving ourselves, I thought about, if I had walked into Reset Wellness in Virginia to visit Dr. Barnes in 2016, and I read that on his wall, I would have thought it was the biggest crock. Like, I'll just be honest, right there.
Oh,
And I'm like, exactly. I would have just been like, of course I love myself,
Right.
of course I love myself. Like, who doesn't love themselves, right? And so, it's like, I wasn't aware that I didn't like or love myself. Like you've aptly said, I am a naturally happy person. Like, I like to laugh. I have fun. I have a servant's heart. I'm active in my community. I do for my family, like everybody. Nobody would think that there's any kind of fly in the ointment around how I feel about myself, right? Not even me. Okay. Least of all me. And so my level of awareness around that is a slow burn. I'll be honest, right? I've shared before, I just wanted the science. I didn't want this piece. I didn't want the emotional piece. And in order for me to achieve the balance, like Dr. Tran says, is I've got to like myself. I've got to love myself. It was scary to realize that I might not. Like, do I not? How far back in my life can I walk that, right? I can come up with all these reasons or excuses on why my focus was out. But ultimately, it was something that we have to sit with eventually, right? Eventually, when you start to question, why am I on this rinse and repeat with my wellness? What do I need to do in addition to the protocol to make this work and be more sustainable long term? And it is really sitting down with yourself and thinking about, where am I at with my emotions about me, right? And it's so hard to realize you were your own bully.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I never even thought of that. It just floored me when I realized what I was doing to myself. I would have never put up with that from someone. Are you kidding?
Right.
Never.
They would have been
And yet,
out.
I put up with that for so many years. And I'll tell you, that is part of my qualifying questions when I'm in a consultation. I ask the question because I'll tell you, right there, when I realized how hard that hit me, I'll tell you, that really hits people, because people look at it and go, I don't like myself, especially when they come in, right? It's
Yeah.
like, well, tell me about that. Let's talk about that, because that's so important. I think that's a real important piece as we're moving along our
It's
road in life.
absolutely, it's a critical piece. And I think that, we need to, as coaches, we need to strike that delicate balance and raise that level of awareness
Mhm.
sooner,
Yes,
So for you to start that kind of conversation with somebody, it at least plants a seed that we're going to have to water if we want this to work, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
You know,
what about you, Dr. Barnes?
well, so I want to shed some light on a couple things. We don't want to blow past the generational health discussion without talking about how many generations Bev has downline, right?
Right? Right?
Right. So Bev, you are a great grandmother. You're not just a grandmother, right?
Oh,
Yes. 6th grade.
So absolutely amazing. And Wendy bringing up those statistics and everything. Coming across my media feed today, actually, there's a seminar I'm looking forward to that talks about how metabolic dysfunction and problems actually start in utero now, in the womb. So when mom is pregnant, if she's got such bad metabolic dysfunction, it actually can get transferred to the baby.
yeah.
And so the baby comes out already behind the 8 ball, already metabolically predisposed towards having all of these things. And so it just becomes ultimately so important that, not only do we get to mothers, right, but
Yeah.
also the downline.
Yeah.
I find
Absolutely.
it also just amazing how Bev couldn't love herself, because evidently many men love Bev. And I also wanted to bring out just the great news since the last podcast, since I did the Life Possible podcast with Bev. You got married,
I did, yeah.
right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very, very fortunate, very blessed.
That's why we have a change of name. And you didn't just get married in a traditional, hey, you had so much fun. And I love this part of your Life Possible, this part of your story. Tell us just real quick. Bring us up to speed on the wedding and the owl. You literally, I'm looking at you on Facebook. I'm like, wait, that's an owl on her hand at her wedding.
Well, we first of all, we met because I was actually working with his son at the pharmacy.
Okay.
So that's actually how I met him, and his name is Stan.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to Ireland last year, and we got married in September. And our wedding was family only, and it was lovely, and it was very non-traditional. My 2 dearest friends walked me out, and my kids, my grandkids, and my great-grandkids were all standing up for us. Anyway, I was looking at what can I do different instead of having a wedding favor that people may not really use
Right.
and leave on the table. So my husband is a wildlife photographer. He does amazing work. And he absolutely loves owls. So I thought, I'm going to call our local wildlife center.
Yeah.
So I did. And I booked this sweet little guy. His name is Sitka. And I booked him as a wedding favor so that everybody had an experience. So everybody got their picture taken with him. And it was that moment where the ceremony was over and just before you're going for dinner. So that experience embodied that whole time. And it was just amazing. I didn't want to get the big one because the big owl can freak a lot of people out.
Right.
Right.
The small one, and Stan had no idea it was even coming.
Oh.
He was surprised, and my great grandson took him by the hand and took him to the gate and opened the gate, and there was Sitka.
Aw.
So cute.
It was just lovely, and the whole our whole wedding was done on experiences and
I love to watch your relationship on Facebook and the fun things that you guys do. And I truly, I feel like this is the definition of life possible.
Oh,
that you are enjoying so many things, right?
So much.
Right?
Did you know, John, that we are in a rock choir?
I saw that. I'm telling you, I'm such a fan of Bev and Wendy. If you haven't seen her Facebook feed, you certainly will have FOMO because she's doing so many things, right? Yes. But here's the other part, and I'm a little concerned for your relationship because I feel like there's another man in your life based on what I've seen.
Right?
That would be Keith on a wreath.
Keith Urban keeps popping up, and I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes that we all don't know about.
I know. I tried telling him to, keep it on the low,
on the down low, right?
Right.
I did tell Stan the second time I went out with him about Keith. And Nicole is just like a sidebar, right?
Right. She's the baby or whatever they call it.
Yeah, whatever. Her pantyhose wrinkle.
All right, enough hijacking of Wendy's show.
No.
I'm going to give it back to you, Wendy.
This is the good stuff. This is literally.
Isn't it though? I mean, I want to be Bev when I grow up.
Yeah. This is how life possible happens. Like you said, Dr. Barnes, when we are metabolically healthy, literally the sky is the limit. Okay. And I love that. Bring on the experiences. It's, do I want to do it? Yes or no? Not, man, I wish I could do that, but I can't.
Boom.
And
again, it's so amazing to go from the floor and not being able to get up to, we went to Scotland and we were the king and the queen.
Yeah, and you probably did 17,000 steps. Okay.
Oh,
right.
Easy,
yeah.
Easy, and you could do it, which is just such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Everybody deserves to have the mobility and the health as they're looking into retirement, the twilight part of life. We've worked so hard to get there. How are we going to be able to enjoy this truly, authentically? And that's what I love about your story. It's so inspirational.
But I'm not done hijacking yet.
Okay, good. Go ahead. Oh.
I've spent a lot of time on social media lately, and Wendy, I saw this post that you put up on the Real Women because, again, I am a very happy member of the Real Women of Ideal.
Yeah, we love the dudes.
And can you tell us a little bit about this too? Because I think it speaks to loving yourself, etc. Right?
I'm trying. Okay. I'm really trying at that. And I love that reminder. When I saw that, like, this is the beginning of anything you want, I challenge you to tell me differently, right? Like, literally, I am in charge of making happen anything that I want to make happen. And, it's not a secret that, 2023 was definitely my most challenging year in wellness. I believe that through the challenges, it also yielded me the most awareness and education that I needed to continue to grow and create that long-term healthy lifestyle for myself that's going to work. And so I took this picture the other day. I'll be honest, I didn't take 50 of them. This is the one. Okay. I just took the one. And I was like, it is what it is. Okay. Because I know that no matter where I am with my wellness journey and getting back to my happy weight, there are so many people who would love to be where I am at currently, right? Mm-hmm. I was one of those people. At 276 pounds, I would have given anything to weigh 188. That's my number, okay? 188 right now. And I thought, if I could harness that kind of appreciation and care for myself, I think people need to hear that, right? I think that we just need to hear that. And so that's me yesterday.
I love it. I love it.
Putting it out there, right?
I love it. No, so vulnerable, so authentic, right? And that's what people need. Yeah. Because I know so many people who are in this journey.
Yeah.
Right walking with you shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
So I saw those things and yes, I told you I was going to hijack you and make you speak.
That's okay.
Now I'm giving you the show back.
Okay. Well, that's the perfect segue. Thank you for planning that so appropriately. For the next part of our conversation, which was on page 51, Bev, and I would love for you just to read that excerpt that you did on the Life Possible podcast, because I do really feel like it goes right back to what Dr. Barnes just shared.
Page 51, in the end, there are only two ways to go on a diet: with complacency, dragging along all of your baggage and perpetuating your status as a victim, or with compassion by managing to step back from your problems and take action out of self-love.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did when I realized my diagnosis was my weight.
And I think that I'm jealous. Okay. I'm jealous of your experience, Bev, because you immediately took action out of self-love. It took me 7 years to start to do that. 7 years post initial weight loss to start looking at the bigger picture, to looking at the humanity piece of the Ideal Protein Protocol, because I wasn't connected to that at all. You know, and I have even, what blew my mind in that part of your podcast was that I was like, I have literally used that sentence, that statement from Dr. Tran previously with clients when coaching around victim mentality, or is this something that is good for us and happy and free will and all of that. I never went deeper into the self-love piece. And so I didn't start unpacking my bags. I carried those damn bags. They are so heavy. They weigh more than 276 pounds. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're so heavy. I carried them around for 7 years because I just wanted the science. And then slowly I started realizing there's something more to this, right? I need a little bit something more than just the science.
Yeah.
Because I still have not captured the balance I know is out there waiting for me. And so facing that and starting to unpack my bags is a critical part of this. That was kind of the heavy lifting I stopped doing in 2023. It's hard piece by piece picking everything up out of the bags and discarding them. I find myself still struggling with that, but I'm thankful that my awareness is there because of Dr. Tran's book and the humanity piece of the protocol. I understand it. It's an important component. And, just today I put something out on social media. I know, I can't but smile. Love Dr. Tran. It's a hamster wheel, and I was on that hamster wheel. I knew all the things, right? But I wasn't ready to take that deeper step. And last year, in amongst all of the struggles I was facing and the challenges, it became evident that that's where I needed to go. That's where my efforts for wellness needed to be focused. And I'm curious to know from you, Bev, and Dr. Barnes, when did you realize you had excess baggage, not just the LBs, right? And how did you start unpacking that? Where are you today?
Well, first of all, I have to say everything on humanity is in this book. Everything we need to know is in this book.
Yeah.
I read the book twice before I had started. And in all honesty, I have to say I started unpacking my baggage probably about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Now I started.
Yeah.
And by unpacking the baggage, what's interesting is you can unpack something, but something else pops in.
Dang it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, when we talk about opening a can of worms, well, that's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is I had to stop and I had to start unpacking. If something else went in, I needed to deal with it immediately.
Yeah.
Because I still had more unpacking to go.
Yeah.
And, that is a real scary and very vulnerable time, because do we really want to do that? Do we really want to see ourselves in that way? because we have to own that.
Yeah.
Right. And something came to me when I was about 54, and I thought, you know what? How many more Christmases do I have on this earth? How many more birthdays do I have? How many more do my grandkids have? Do my great grandkids have, that I'm going to be healthy and being able to live through it?
Yeah.
Do the math, everyone. When you really stop and think about it, then I decided, damn it, that's it. Sorry if I said that.
That's okay.
I am not going to fight for the rest of my life. I am not going to continue doing this. I'm finished with it.
Yeah.
So I just kept unpacking my bags. Are they all empty? Well, for the most part, but not really, because,
Yeah.
you know, you're always going to get some baggage.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's learning about it. It's dealing with it. Well, as a matter of fact, I have cataracts. Okay, well, that's a part of aging.
Yeah.
I couldn't have controlled, but guess what? I'm going to have great vision after this. But you know, you can look at that as, is it? Are you a victim?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no baggage in there because I see it in a different way. So I think that's the important thing. And I just don't want to keep on this fight for the rest of my life.
No.
I don't deserve to continue fighting like I did the first part of my life.
Yeah. It's so circular, you know, it's so circular. And until you're ready to do that, like, until you realize you need to, it can be frightening. It can be like, holy smokes, how did I not know these things? And, you know, I had to kind of move past. It was almost like some grieving, right? There was some grieving going, like, yeah. How did I not know? I was here every day. How horrible, you know, and then it's upsetting, but then it's like, this is what I have to do. There was no other answer. Kind of when I'm coaching and I'm telling people there's no way around it except straight through. Like, you can keep going around, but the fact of the matter is, until you walk straight through it, you're going to keep going around. Mm-hmm. And I thank God that I was ready or not to go straight through it, right? I was as ready as I was ever going to be to start going through it. And when you say, you know, you pull something out of the bag and there's something else there. It's kind of like, you know, a dirty old purse, right? There's always like gum wrappers in there, a bent up toothpick, like whatever.
Yeah, there's never more money.
You know, I'm like, I want to get down to the gum wrapper situation. You know, I don't want the melted candy or, you know, the snapped hair tie. Like, I don't want the big stuff. I want to get to the littler stuff, but I can't get to the littler stuff while I'm still working through the big stuff. And the gratitude I have for that is that, number one, Dr. Tran brought that piece into our experience. You know, when we're ready to receive it in our own time. For you, Bev, it was immediate. That's what makes me jealous. For me, it was 7 years, right? Because I was at 276. I'll use the same word you did. I was damn desperate, okay? There was no two ways about it. Life was passing me by while I was sitting there doing all the things for everybody else. And there was pure suffrage. No matter what was going on here, no matter how many times a day I laughed or checked a box, it was suffrage. So going right through it and emptying those bags is exactly what it takes. And I truly believe that with a weight issue and obesity, I told Dr. Barnes, as my secondary condition, there's always going to be something more than what we see on the surface.
Always.
You know?
And if anything I've really learned in with coaching is that, you may see someone at some point and think someone has it all together, but let me tell you, people don't. We're all real. We're all pretty raw.
Yeah.
It's not just something that we talk about all the time.
Right. And I think that we need to, because the way that I see it, I'm just going to put this out there because that's what Encore does. The more we talk about it, the less times as coaches and clinic owners, we have to receive somebody back in for the third time. or the fourth time or the fifth time, because I don't aspire to have a sustainable business based on repeat business. Exactly. Right? I want to have the kind of day like today, literally the third Friday of every month is my favorite day of the month. You know why? All of my monthly maintenance appointments happen and it's a full day.
Wow.
Okay. It's a full day. I love this day because with the macro code and the support, I'm seeing wild success. Now, tune-ups happen. We're designed to gain weight, but I would much rather have it be, hey, it's time to tune up. Let's redo the pantry survey. Let's redo our why statement. You know, let's refocus and nip this in the bud in the spirit of preventative care, not this interventional big, long situation, right? Absolutely. I don't know what part of this would resonate with you, Dr. Barnes, but I'm sure you got some baggage, boy.
You know, ladies, my bags are packed, zipped up, and in the closet, never to be pulled out again. And that's how us men take care of those things. I wanted to point out, though, I just when you read from the book, Bev, and talked about you can play the victim, right? For me, there was another book that impacted me so much called Heroes on a Mission.
Yep.
And it talks about all these roles that we play. We play the role of the victim, right? And you can take that and turn that into negative energy and become a villain. And you can be negative your whole life. You can tear everybody down. However, both of you have taken that energy and you've turned it into the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You turned that. And I actually was just talking with Lynn about this today. What if we could convert our feelings into fuel for the fire?
Yeah.
For this journey, right? And you've taken that and you've become the hero by making the transformation, by doing the hard work. And now you've also taken that next part of the journey to become the guide, the guide is the highest level. Yeah. Becoming the guide, you're turning around and you're trying to reach and help as many people as possible who are going through the same thing, right? Yeah. This is the story of the Ideal Protein Coach. 90% of coaches out there have taken the hero's journey and they've turned in themselves into guides to try to help as many people as possible. Yeah. I think that both of you ladies are such great examples of that, and we just got all of that out of this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love that. And it's exciting to me, Bev. You said you've read the book twice.
Oh yes.
I started reading it one time and I put it down for 2 years. We know this. I wasn't ready. It's all that whole bag unpacking situation. I knew I wasn't ready. And so then I picked the book back up in 2019 and I'm really excited now, 7 years in with what I've experienced. I'm excited to reread the book. Right. And that's why we're going to start on February 2nd. I think it's interesting that it's Groundhog's Day, right? The hamster wheel, Groundhog's Day, like, let's break the cycle, okay?
Right.
Absolutely. Let's just break the cycle. So I'm super excited to be rereading this again today with who I am today. I can't wait to see what that experience holds. I'm ready for it. Bev, there were a couple things between you and Dr. Barnes in the Life Possible podcast episode 63 where you were featured that I just loved. And so we're going to run through those really quick and then we're going to get into fun stuff. What's that?
Speed round.
Speed round, yes. Bev said, your worst day is your best day to come in. Never were there truer words spoken, right? Like literally when you least feel like it is when you most need to come in. Thank you for saying that. I wanted to give Dr. Barnes a shout out at Reset Wellness for having on their wall. You don't have to lose weight to love yourself, but you do have to love yourself to lose weight. If you don't think it's true today, think again. Okay. And a really great job, Dr. Barnes, like editing video clips in and out of that episode. Love that seamless transition.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I see you growing. Hey, it made me want to be a coach like Bev is. She tagged teams with Dr. Tran in her clinic.
Yep.
Right. She tagged teams with him using that book, and I think that's exceptional coaching. So props to you. Coach goals. I want one of my clients to get a tattoo with something I say on their body.
Are you kidding?
Oh my God.
It still blows my mind.
I know.
Hold on.
Here we go.
Oh, wait, she's going to show us her tattoos. Wait, what?
This
There
is
it
the
is.
tattoo that my client got.
What's
That
your
is
why?
just
It's
the
so
biggest-
Always talked about
true.
what is your why,
I
The
love
biggest
that.
honor you could ever get as
I
a
know.
coach,
isn't it?
I know. I thought that's a coach goal. So you helped me set some goals.
right? I thought it was my face on them, but no. Yeah, no.
Right.
I would
was-
take what is your why?
That was a distant second, or that was a close second. Okay. I love, Bev, that you have success agreements for phase 2 and 3. I'd like copies. And then Dr. Barnes said phase 2 is the most fun. It is so fun. I get
Right.
so excited. Like, I love that one-on-one workshop that we get to do. Really, I mean, that is a transformative hour in people's lives. Like, they are different people in that 60 minutes. We block 60 minutes. And they just can't even imagine what they're going to leave that appointment with to head into the stabilization experience. You are right. It is fun. Okay. And then Bev,
And real quick, I wanted to say there's so many people that have not experienced it still. I'm getting people returning and they haven't been back for years.
I know.
They still have not experienced phase 2. So that's even more exciting. It's like, oh, you just wait.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just wait. Like, good stuff is happening, but more good stuff's coming.
Yep.
And then Bev, I love your background. Will you tell us about your background?
Oh, my background. I love my background. I have this up all the time. What I've done is I went on to Google.
Yep.
And typed in, because it's your life, Dr. Tran. I copied the image, put it into Microsoft, and I printed 20 of them out, and I have it on my back wall.
I love it. I love it. It's my favorite wallpaper.
So everyone sees this
Yeah.
when they come in, and see, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I love it.
Dang, that is so cool.
I love it.
It just makes me happy because that's what I embody, and it's the real deal.
Yeah,
it's true. It's a
Everything we need to
conversation
know.
starter. I mean, there's no way for it not to be a conversation starter.
right.
I love it so much. Props to you for being so creative. Now we're gonna get to some fun stuff. More fun stuff. See all this? Bev, your spirit vegetable. Okay. When you thought about, when I put that out there in the outline, like, I'd love to know your initial thoughts, and then I'd love to hear what your spirit vegetable is and why.
Okay, my initial thought was, who is this woman?
I get that a lot.
I love it. That was my thought. That's always my thought.
Right.
What
Oh my
is
gosh.
a spirit vegetable? What? Then it hit me, and I'm like, oh, okay. That makes sense. So I did give it quite a bit of thought because I was trying to figure it out with all the vegetables that we have on hand. So I'll tell you what my spirit vegetable is. It is a snap pea.
A snap pea. I love that. So
Okay.
tell us
why is it a snap pea? Because there's the pod, the outer shell.
Mhm.
When you take the string off of it, it makes it easier to digest. Inside each pod, there's typically 3 to 9 peas. Mine has 6.
Okay. I
You
love
can
that.
see there's childhood, where you kind of learn kind of the rules and understandings of life. And then as a teenager, self-discovery and kind of self-identity is how I felt. And then early adulthood was about independence and striving for personal success. And then the middle adulthood, you can see that the 2 pods encompass that, because I felt like that's where I wanted to be accomplished and make an impact. And the last one is a senior or an elder, if so to speak.
Yeah.
That's where I'm reflecting on the life cycle and letting go of some worries that don't matter.
Yeah.
And stopping the fight. So it's kind of being at one. I'm at one with myself.
Yeah.
And I have the little casing that's holding all the different pieces together. And it grows best in the sun, but it also tolerates shade.
Okay.
Which is important to tolerate.
Yep.
And did you know that peas thrive when there's some adversity? And
No.
that's what I do.
Wow.
Okay. In adverse conditions,
Yes.
peas can thrive.
Yes.
That's incredible.
So that is my spirit vegetable.
I love it. I love it. You're the cutest snow pea I ever did see.
And I hope I didn't disappoint with that.
You did perfect.
Oh
You know,
my
there's
God.
no
That was
wrong answer, but that was definitely the right answer.
right.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
It was really interesting thinking of that, and going, oh yeah, so there's all, the childhood, then there's teenage years, adulthood, and then
Yeah.
and you're going through, it's like, whoa, but that pod makes it as one. And that's the thing, that's what Dr. Tran talks about.
Yeah.
Being as one with ourselves.
Absolutely. I love it. That was
Wow.
perfect. Thank you so
So
much for
amazing.
playing. It's been a great show, Bev. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for just being real with us. That's what we need more of, right? The real talk. And you brought it. You brought it today. I knew it was going to be a sensational time, and I couldn't be more grateful for you coming on and sharing what you shared with us today.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Bev.
you so very much for inviting me back. I really, really do appreciate it. And just being in the company of both of you. Oh, I just so fortunate, so blessed. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It is a blessed community. Dr. Barnes, anything in
And our
closing before
Well,
Transformation 24? Yes, it is on.
it is
happening.
on. And again, I think the last part of this is just, I cannot wait to be with you ladies in person at a super weekend.
Yeah.
In 2024, because I am sure that we are going to at least start that whole thing this year. And I've got to meet Bev in person. Wendy and I have been together a couple of times, but I can't imagine hanging out with Bev in person.
Yeah.
Right. And what kind of adventures that will mean.
Well, we're going to have so much fun.
Right. Amen.
Absolutely.
All right, Wendy, we'll leave you to it.
We're people.
Right?
We're people. It's been an amazing Encore episode to kick off 2024. Thank you both so much. As far as everybody at home, like our page, The Real Women of Ideal Protein. If you are not familiar with the Life Possible podcast, go and like that page. Catch up. He's got an entire library of rock solid gold in episodes to help further your experience and your wellness. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Encore. And if you want to join us in our group read starting February 2nd, check with your coach, check with your clinic, see if they can get you this book. They may have it in stock. If not, you can check out the Real Women of Ideal Protein page for a link to order. It is on sale for 2024 because why not? Thank you guys so much and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.